Mia, welcome back to another episode of Keeping Up with College. It's really nice to meet you. We'll just start off with you introducing yourself, like who you are, where you're from, what school you're currently at, and what you're studying right now.
Okay. So I'm Mia. I am from Geelong in Victoria.
Cool.
I'm currently at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University in Prescott, Arizona.
Yep.
I'm running cross country and distance track
Yep.
at the school, and I'm studying aerospace engineering.
Cool. Awesome. Are you back home now? You're back in Geelong?
I'm not. I'm back home in about a week, bit over a week from now. I fly home.
Okay, so has school finished for you right now, or are you still going?
Has finished for me, yeah.
Okay.
I stayed over for a bit longer. I just went and watched some of my teammates at our national championship,
Okay.
um, and I am doing a half marathon in California on Sunday, so I'm flying home right after that.
Wow. Oh, big stuff. Okay, cool. Is that half marathon just for you, or is that
Yeah,
for the school?
no, that's not for the school. That's just sort of like a training run, I guess.
Okay.
But just an excuse to do a fun run, I guess.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Can I ask what time you're hoping for this half marathon?
I don't really have a time. Sort of just gonna run it and have a bit of fun.
Yeah.
We're in the just starting our summer training block, so not doing anything crazy, no racing or
Okay.
anything like that. Just base building. So I'll
Yeah.
just run it and have a bit of fun. But yeah, I'm
Mhm.
not looking for any time.
Yeah, no, good for you. So this like summer training block, is this like a time where you guys are given sort of like a schedule, like a workout schedule to go with, or is it right now, is it just kind of relax, take a step back, go home, enjoy, and then later on, get into it?
Yeah, so definitely still doing training through summer.
Yeah.
When our season ends, we get like a week off. Let our bodies sort of like take a break, recover, and then we do a pretty slow build back up to like full training. So we'll start with just like a 50% mileage, and
Hmm.
then slowly build back up to 100% of what our normal weekly mileage would be, and it's sort of taking out as well any speed work or like workouts that we do. It's just all easy base running,
Yeah.
base training through summer, which like yeah, just making sure that our bodies like get a reset after the season and stuff. So my coach gives us like training plan that we can follow, which is good as a reference, even if like we don't want to follow it exactly. It's just a good reference point to sort of get an idea of like what we need to be doing and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So when is your season for track and field like throughout school? When does it start? When does it finish? Like, is it all throughout the year?
Yeah, so it's all throughout the year for me since I'm like cross country, which then goes into track and field. We just sort of like do both. So cross country is
Oh,
fall. So in the fall semester, we do cross country. So I think racing starts about like end of September sort of time, if I remember, and goes till pretty much the end of the fall semester.
okay.
And then our track season started in, I think, February. So
Hmm.
towards the start of spring semester, and then follows through pretty much to the end of the semester.
So what do you do in track and field? Like, what are your specific events?
So this season, I ran the 10K and the 5K.
Okay.
Um, we can do really, we get to pick what events we want to run. So anywhere from an 800 up to a 10K are the
Mm.
distances that they run. I chose to run more like 10K, 5K this season.
Okay.
Um, Next year, next track season, I'll probably run a few other races as well, like maybe try out some of the shorter ones.
Okay.
But yeah,
Yeah. So for cross country and track and field athletes, like, is that set up in a way where you can do both? Like, you can
yeah.
do cross country and you can do track and field. You don't have to though, right? Is that correct?
Well, at the school that I'm at, we don't have like a track and field team really. We have like our cross country team, and then like the cross country team just also will run track in the track and field season, but we don't have any like field athletes or anything like that, and we don't have any sprinters. So the way it works for us is that we obviously come over. like we run cross country at the school, and then that sort of just feeds into the next semester. So it's the same team, same coach, same training, pretty much all of that. It's just a switch from obviously cross country races over to racing on the track, and we get to pick distance in track and field
Yeah.
that we want to run, but it's still like, yeah, middle distance and upwards of that. But yeah,
Cool. Okay, so this past year was your freshman year, is that
yeah,
correct? How was
yeah.
that for you?
It was really good. Yeah, definitely one of the most fun years of my life. I think I really didn't know what to expect when I came over, but like I've had a great time. It's been great over here.
Yeah.
Like just the whole structure of, sport like through the school has just been great. Meeting new people, being across the world. It's a lot of changes in a really short time, but like I've really enjoyed it. And it's been great.
Yeah. Okay, so when did you actually like decide that you actually wanted to go to the US and study and compete over there? Like when did this sort of dream come about for you?
Yeah. So I don't know exactly when I like decided that I definitely wanted to do it, but it's pretty much since middle school been something that I've been aware of. A lot of kids at my high school have come over for different sports. A lot of runners or track and field athletes. I
Yeah.
know a few people who have come over for rowing and I think basketball too, maybe. So it was sort of like at my high school, running with older kids on the team. They would leave high school and I would know them and see them go over to America.
Hmm.
Um, to continue competing in collegiate sport. And so I sort of was always aware of it and always thought that it was a pretty cool thing. And then once I got into high school, my careers counselor at my high school
Yeah.
always, he's really familiar with like that option. So suggests it to any student athletes. So he always like, kept me informed on that. And then, yeah, so I guess like, I mean, really since like middle school, I sort of knew about it. I wasn't really sure whether I definitely wanted to do it or not, but definitely last 2 years of high school, I think, is when I started really, settling down on that as an option and was like, yeah, no, this is what I want to do.
Yeah, okay. So how did you find Green Room Futures out of all the companies that are out there for USA recruiting? Like how did you find us and how did you find Matt or Richo, whoever was your point of contact with that?
Yeah. So my careers counselor at my high school also helped me find Green Room Futures. So there was I guess a couple agencies that this like he was familiar with from the
Yeah.
school. And so I like met with a few of them, and Matt Wade was who I met with at Green Room. And this was, after I sort of like spoke to a few different places, I was like, yeah, this definitely seems like the best option. I just liked that it was a bit like more personal. I felt like some of the other places were more like, I guess, probably more like bigger companies, I guess,
Yeah.
that sort of like it felt a little bit less personal. So I really liked that
Mhm.
about Green Managers. So that was how I got in contact. And I think that was when I was in year 11. I don't
Yeah.
remember exactly, but I think about that time. Yeah.
Yeah. And so what like is the time frame you found Green Room in grade 11? Like when did Matt
Yeah.
find you Embry-Riddle and like yeah, what's that time frame look like?
Yeah, so um it happened like over time but also really quickly. Like
Yeah.
I don't remember exact times, but I know like once I got in contact with him, sort of like obviously told him what I was looking for,
Mhm.
what I wanted to study, obviously looking for schools with like a good cross country program.
Mhm.
We were looking for I think around like NCAA Div 2 schools, I think was around what we were looking at as well. So sort of just like clarifying where I wanted to be in terms of competition.
Yeah.
And I'm at an NAIA school now, which is a separate division, obviously, to NCAA. But yeah, so once like we knew all that, Matt started getting in contact with schools, coming back to me. I actually spoke to a different school than the one I'm at initially, had a call with the coach from over there. But the academic program, obviously, I'm doing engineering, that wasn't offered at that school. So, when that happened, we went back, sort of revised, started looking at new options. And it wasn't long after that that Matt came to me with a few new schools he'd reached out to, and Embry-Riddle was one of them. And that was originally the campus that they have in Daytona in Florida. So sort of was like loosely communicating with the coaches over there.
Hmm.
And then Matt had obviously gotten in contact with my coach at Prescott, and we set up a Zoom call with him. And that all happened pretty quickly as well. I think by that point it was when I was in year 12. So sort of like it's happening over time, but like everything moved through pretty smoothly.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I had a call with the coach at the school that I'm at now, and I was like, sounds like a pretty good fit. And
Mhm.
after that, the process of finalizing it, everything was pretty straightforward, pretty easy.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, look, I know, not that I know anything about aerospace engineering or at all, but I do know of Embry-Riddle,
Yeah,
Daytona,
yeah,
because so I went to Florida Tech in
yeah,
Melbourne, Florida, and Embry-Riddle, we're a D2 conference, and
yeah,
Embry-Riddle in Daytona were in the same conference as us, and they were basically our rivals. So I
yeah,
played soccer, so
yeah,
our schools were very, very competitive and very much like our rival schools. So when I heard you went to or you go to Embry-Riddle, I was like, oh my God, no way! Like I could talk so much about this school, and then I
yeah,
realized, oh, it's not even Daytona Embry-Riddle; it's
yeah, different campus.
Arizona.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it's crazy. So I know like we're both aerospace schools
yeah,
basically. So that's why we're all rivals. And I just know how big aerospace engineering is,
yeah,
flight or anything to do with flight and aerospace at both of those schools. So I can imagine what it's like at
yeah,
Prescott as well. So that's really cool. I thought that was an awesome little,
yeah,
connection there. So yeah, that's really awesome. Okay, so what has like your biggest like academic challenge been for you so far? Like apart from all the sport and all of that, like academic wise, has it been a struggle?
yeah. So I guess like I've been pretty lucky. Definitely like my first two semesters have been pretty good for me.
Hmm.
Um, the curriculum in Australia, I think, is just really good at a high school level.
Yeah.
At least from like what I've experienced so far. Like
Mhm.
obviously there was nothing that I did in high school that sort of like transferred over to college.
Yeah.
Just because it's the different like structure of how they run school and stuff. But like my classes for my first two semesters have been pretty light for me.
Yeah.
Like sort of some of them are touching on content that I did in high school. Some of them have just been, I guess, more introductory classes to college. They don't sort of throw you in the deep end too hard your freshman year at the college that I'm at least. So I haven't had any like huge challenges in terms of like just my classes that I've taken so far.
Yeah.
I'd say the thing that's been difficult for me was trying to organize like summer classes to
Okay.
take. So I don't really need to take summer classes, but I wanted to be able to do that to sort of just like get some extra credits done earlier.
Yeah.
I guess for me, it seems ideal to front load anything I do earlier on and lighten up my years, like my senior year and stuff, to be able to have to take less classes down the line would be nice. So it was I had a few issues when I was sort of, I guess, figuring out taking summer classes and stuff, which did mainly revolve around being an international student. So I am right now going to take a class through Embry-Riddle's worldwide program, which is online, but I was initially looking to take it off campus just because there's some other options where you can take them off campus. They're going to be cheaper and stuff.
Hmm.
It's pretty, I think pretty common for students to take summer classes like at community colleges and stuff just because the price point is lower for that and it's just a good option. But I definitely had encountered some issues when I was trying to look for options like that, just about being international. Some schools, not being able to, they don't have like certain options. I'm obviously looking to do it online because I'm going to be back in Australia.
Yeah.
So I needed it to be remote. Some schools not offering it unless you reside in state, different issues like that. So there was a lot of back and forth with my advisor at my school who was helping me. It was actually a good thing in the end because I feel like I hadn't really been in contact with my academic advisor much, like throughout most of my first year of school, just because I hadn't really had to.
Hmm.
But now that I have, like, I'm really grateful for that because sort of made me realize like they're a really good resource. Like,
Yeah.
they know, what classes you have to take, where like options of where to take them. I mean, yeah, there's just so many things that my advisor's been really helpful for. But that would definitely, I would say for me, that's been like, that was the most challenging thing, was just trying to like navigate that. And it's also obviously classes over here are run differently than, tertiary education in Australia. So it's a bit unfamiliar.
Yeah. Are you hoping to graduate a little bit earlier than most? No.
I'm still gonna do. I want to do 4 years of college. For me, taking summer classes is just nice because it allows me to take a few more classes earlier on, and then
Yeah.
my last couple of semesters I might not have to take many credits.
Yeah.
Would give me more time to focus on any classes I'm taking at that point. And obviously, down the line in engineering, you start working on more projects and
Yeah.
things like that. So it's sort of, I think for me, it would be nice to, be able to lighten up my typical like academic workload at that point so that I have the ability to focus more on things like that if I wanted to.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think if you're doing something like engineering, you're
Yeah.
probably going to want as much time as possible, to work around, like you say, the projects that you're going to have. So that's pretty smart, I think. Can you tell me, with NAIA schools and that sort of institution, do you have to take a certain amount of credits? Because in NCAA institutions, whether it's D1, D2, D3, it doesn't matter. Like you have to take, I believe, for an undergraduate, it's 12 credits per semester. And for graduate students, it's nine. So I don't know if the rules are different for NAIA. Can you explain that if you know?
Um, yeah, so it's the same for NAIA. It's you have to be enrolled in 12 credits for a semester, and you have to have passed 24 within the last year.
Yeah,
And so obviously that's, yeah, they're the rules for eligibility in the NAIA. So
yeah,
have to be enrolled in 12 credits, and then obviously you also have to pass 12 credits.
yeah,
And you have to have passed, that's per semester, and then within the past year you have to have past 24. So like
yeah,
if you were to not pass 12 credits one semester, you'd obviously be ineligible for the next semester.
mhm,
But you would have to then also make sure that you take enough credits to make up for whatever you missed the
yeah.
previous semester, to make sure that you're back on track to have 24 within the year.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I know for lots of other students, these students take one more, like an extra class, an extra 3 credit class or an extra 4 credit class to stay above that 12 credit line because, like, say you happen to fail one of the subjects, God forbid, but if you do happen to fail when you're only on 12 credits, then you won't meet that minimum of being eligible to play and to live in the US. So it kind of like jeopardizes your visa status.
Yeah.
So, yeah, are you taking 12 every semester, or have you
Yeah, I'm taking more than 12. So my first semester I took 16 credits. Last semester I took
Well,
17. I think next semester I'm taking 16, which that's, I mean, also just like how it works, I guess, with
yeah.
engineering. Yeah, I mean, it's been okay so far. Again, like the workload of the classes hasn't been too bad.
Okay.
And I took 6 classes my first semester, which included like a University 101 class, which is not like really
Yeah.
a full-on class, and then 5 last semester. So like 5 classes in a semester has been really manageable for me. Um, and I
Um,
think yeah. So, but I think that 17 is probably the most credits I'll do in one semester. But it's definitely like, yeah. It's sort of like I would end up doing that many credits either way, just with
yeah.
like the degree that I'm doing. But it definitely is also helpful just being above that threshold.
Yeah.
Like I'm not planning on failing any classes, but if something went really wrong and it did happen, I would just have that extra layer of security knowing that I'm
Yeah.
not going to drop below that threshold of 12 credits.
Yeah, I think it's very smart of you to do, very strategic way of
Yeah.
doing it. I don't think I know anyone that's ever taken 16 or 17 even. So I'm actually very, very impressed with that and how you manage that workload, especially with both your seasons in cross country and track and field. Like that's over the entire semester. It's not like, for soccer, we're a fall sport. So we'll take the minimum amount of credits are required for that fall and then spring because we have that much time because we're not even in season. We'll take
Yeah.
another extra 1 or 2 classes. So I can't imagine how busy you must be all throughout the year, especially if you're taking summer classes as well. Like That's I'm very impressed. That's really good. Are you so do you think you'll by the time you get to your senior year, do you think you'll have taken all your required credits? Or am I thinking like because you're an engineering major, you'll have to take that many anyway?
Yeah, so I think I'll still have to take that many anyways. My goal is more just like hopefully by my senior year I can just take, between 12 and 14 credits as opposed to still having to take like 15 or 16 or whatever.
Yeah.
I think it's like 129 credits total. I don't know if that's like
For your
typical. I don't know
degree.
if it changes. Yeah, I don't know if it varies between degrees, but I have to take 129 credits total. So
Yeah.
like I'll still be taking like yeah at least 12 credits a semester by my senior year, but
Yeah.
also with the engineering classes a lot of them are like 3 or 4 credit classes, so
Yeah.
by the time you get later down the line, if you only like sometimes it only takes 3 classes to be taking 12 credits, which is obviously a lot more manageable than like 5 classes. But yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy. That's wild to me. Um, okay, so you obviously have like a busy schedule. Can you take me through like a day in the life of like classes, training, cafeteria, whatever you do for cross country and track and field?
Yeah. So it's pretty similar both semesters. We train in the mornings, which is really good. All the other sport teams at my college train in the afternoons.
Yeah.
We do morning trainings, which I mean, I think that's a lot better. That definitely works better for me in my schedule and just sort of the way that I go.
Yeah.
But in cross country season training, at the very start of the season starts at 6 a.m.
Mhm.
And then as it stays darker later, it slowly pushes back. But anywhere between 6 and 7, we'll start training, and that'll go for usually about 2 hours in the morning. After that, I just go straight and shower, get ready for the day, do whatever I need to do, and then I head to like our school cafeteria or dining hall or whatever for breakfast. So obviously, freshman year was living on campus, had a meal plan and everything,
Yeah.
um, and a lot of the other kids on the team would also go to breakfast there. So sort of like a lot of my days spent with my teammates as well, which is really nice. So we sort of go to training together, then we'll all go get breakfast, and then just classes throughout the day. Usually, I usually have a couple classes a day. And any time in between classes, I spend at the library. That just works best for me for studying and stuff, doing any work.
Yeah.
And again, most of my teammates will also be in the library, so usually we're sitting together, especially like older kids on the team who live off campus, because it's more convenient staying on campus in between classes, obviously, than trying to go home.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, most of my day is spent, in between classes in the library, which like it's not always just spent studying in the library. Again, like I'm with my teammates, so I'm with my friends hanging out. So it's not like, I guess I spend a lot of my time like, in like study sort of like environments, but I don't feel like I'm constantly working all day, which is nice. It's also really good being at the library with my team, a lot of older students who are also engineers. It's really helpful having people who have taken classes that I'm taking for
Yeah.
help. Like, that's
Yeah.
a really good support system that I have. And then, there's I mean, at some point during the day, I'll usually go and get some food. We have like a Starbucks sort of cafe in the
Okay.
library. There's our student union has a couple food options, and then
Yeah.
there's always like the main food place that we eat at. And then yeah, towards the end of my day, I'll go get. Oh, actually, I guess I usually go to the training room, like the trainers. So I'll go do anything I need to do. Usually sit in the Normatex, like the compression boots, for a little bit, chill out for a bit, and then head to dinner after that, which is on campus again. And then that's about when I end my day. I sort of wind down after dinner. I get most of my work done during the day because I like to be able to sort of like, leave the library or leave my classes and then just like go eat dinner and be able to just chill and like do whatever I want after that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so as like a cross country athlete, is there much time that you spend in like the weight room, or is it mainly just outside on the track or in
Um,
you run around like the school? Because I know at my school at 6 a.m. on the dot, like everyone, I think in the cross country teams and the track and field, they would like run through the school and do like this whole route. that they do. I don't even know, but is that the same
Yeah.
for you?
Sort of. I guess we run 6 mornings a week, and we will run I guess in cross country season, like we are like right near a park that has a bunch of trails. So it's one of
Oh,
the great things about Prescott where I am is like there's so many trails to run on. It's so nice. It's
I
like a
bet.
really nice change from just like all of the concrete like back home where I'm from.
Yeah.
Um, so it's like yeah, it's like a mile maybe, so like a kilometer and a bit from like where we start our runs at the fitness center to get out into like the park where the trails are. So all of
Mhm.
our easy runs are done out there. Workouts and stuff, speed sessions we'll either do on the some of the grass that we have at the school in track season. We do that up on our track.
Yeah.
Or we go to another trail that's nearby on a lake that's a bit more flat, so better for speed work.
Yeah.
But it's all sort of like it starts and ends like on campus.
Yeah.
Except for in pre-season, I guess for cross country, we will come over early before the school semester starts for pre-season, and we drive out to different trails around the area each morning, which is really nice. And then we do weight training twice a week, which is just after whenever we can fit it in. But I typically do mine right after training in the mornings, which is also when most people will. If I have time on any day that we do like a speed session or more work with our running, like that's always the day that I'll try and lift because
Yeah.
that's just one of the things that works, keeping the hard days hard and the easy days easy. Um, so we do lift twice a week, but not that's about it. And it's whenever we can fit it in. But we do have also like a plan that we're given. We have a like weight coach, like a lifting coach who gives us like a plan and stuff that is like structured and tailored for cross country, and it's different for each sport. So like that's really good as well, I guess, having like a plan that's given to us like for strength training that is like specifically tailored to distance running athletes, because that's something that I never had in high school in Australia, I guess. So
Yeah.
that's really good because it's super important too with like a sport like running. It's high
Yeah.
impact, like high stress on the body. So like strength is like really, really important.
Yeah, yeah, and that's one of the great things about the US, and it's also a massive shock to the system for a lot of internationals is that,
Yeah.
we don't really go into the gym too much. And then once you get to the US, it's like it's very weight training based.
Yeah.
Yeah, and these strength and conditioning coaches are there tailored to each sport, which is fantastic. Baseball would be lifting heavy weights and lacrosse would be doing all of the big squats and yeah, and then the other sports, the a little bit less impact like soccer and basketball, and especially females, we would be focusing on what we can focus. Like we would be looking at our knees and our hips, and whereas the men would be looking at upper body and strengthen their shoulders and whatnot. So I'm assuming for you as well, it'd be very sport specific based,
Yeah.
which is the one of the great things about the US, which is super
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
For sure.
Okay, so living arrangements. Are you currently living in a dorm? Like, is that what the arrangement was this year?
Yeah, so freshman year living on campus. That's I'm not sure if it's the same for all colleges, but at the college that I was at, that's a requirement. So if you're a freshman, you live on campus for your first year. So I was in a dorm. I was in a two-person dorm, so I shared a room with one other girl, and then we had like a little shared common area sort of with the room that was next door to us, which had another three girls in it. So we had like a five-person suite, which was on campus. So pretty convenient
Yeah.
for, coming over here for the first time. It's sort of like I'm right where everything is.
Yeah.
It's an easy way to like have accommodation and everything.
Yeah. Was your roommate, is she also in cross country or track and field?
So my roommate was not an athlete. My school had like a roommate like housing portal sort of thing, I guess, that was set up. So before I came over, I sort of looked on that, and then
Yeah.
yeah, I ended up like sort of finding my roommate on there.
Is it kind of like a lottery draw for that roommate pick?
Um, so it can be if you don't like pre-select a roommate, but that was what like this like thing was for. So I guess like you could see different people and like it listed like hobbies and stuff. So I just found someone who I thought seemed similar to me and that I would get along with. And then reached out, and then we just decided that we would like select each other as roommates. And so then when we selected a room, we were automatically put together.
Yeah. Yeah. I think not all colleges, but I would say majority of US colleges would say freshmen at the very least would have to, go and live on campus and be
Yeah,
in a dorm. For my school at Florida Tech, it was freshman and sophomore.
yeah,
Um, so those first 2 years you have to live on campus, and then my school actually introduced sort of like a lottery system.
yeah,
Athletes didn't get the first pick of, finding housing and being able to select a room and a roommate. So that made it so difficult for some of us, because, you're an athlete and you want to live with someone who's in your team. Like that's just like where the bonds are created, and it's where the most fun is. So that kind of like made it a little bit difficult because I was planning on sort of living in the dorms. I was able to collect scholarship money to be able to live in the dorms, but because of this new lottery system, I was like, you know, I don't want my final year in the US to be sort of living with some random person and, taking my chance of, not being able to live with my teammates. So I opted to live off campus.
yeah,
And honestly, it worked out better that way.
yeah,
So, but yeah, that's kind of like the situation for most US colleges. Um,
yeah.
okay, so we only have like 8 minutes left. Let me see. Is there anything that you wish you knew before moving to the US?
Um, I mean, obviously, there's like so many things that are different. So I feel like there's a lot of things I could say that I wish I knew, but there hasn't really been any major things that have been too big issues. I think, again, probably the one thing that has like caused like some slight problems for me is just like how things work being an international student as opposed to, being a US citizen and living over here and going to college over here. Like it does work a lot differently being an international student. It does make some things, or it makes most things like slightly more difficult, which is just part of, going to school overseas, but it is manageable. um, you just like need to know who to talk to. So again, for me, like with my classes, like that made me have to talk to my academic advisor, and I'm glad it did, because now I know that if I have any like, questions or anything like academic related, I know that I can go there for help and that I will get help.
Yeah.
I also have only recently had to go to like my school's center for like international programs and studies, and so that's just sort of like where they run all of the international student stuff out of. I hadn't really had to go into there until recently, but even just like after going in there, like everyone's so friendly. Like this, I went in there because I'm doing I had to do like onboarding for on-campus employment. So
Yeah.
obviously there's like a process you have to go through for that, like being international.
Yeah.
And so I had to go in there, and the person that helped me, who was working in the International Student Center, was also an international student. And so
Yeah.
it's just sort of like, I realized like there's a lot of like people that you can go to for help.
Yeah.
Like I wish I knew, like, I guess I knew that there was going to be like a few things that would be more difficult as an international student. I think I probably underestimated like how it's like, I mean, it's every little thing, is slightly different for international students.
Mhm.
Um, like, yeah, I only properly realized recently that like it is definitely manageable if you just like, use the resources that you have on campus, and most schools will. There's always going to be like somewhere for international students to go to get help with anything.
Yeah.
And the academic advisors will also help as much as they can with classes and stuff like that.
Yeah. So you're planning on getting a job, or do you already have one?
So I've done all my onboarding now. I haven't started working on campus or anything, but I think next semester I will. I'll just be working in like the fitness center.
Yeah.
Um, so just, yeah, that was just a good option for me to be able to, work in America, get some extra money.
Yeah.
Especially because I'm also going to be moving off campus
Okay.
next semester. So definitely like just having like a job on campus that I can just work for, like even if it's just a little bit per week, just like that little bit of extra
Yeah.
money is always helpful. And as an international student, on campus employment was like the easiest and like
I think it's your own
most
job.
simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're gonna live in a house with other teammates?
Yeah, that's the plan. So nothing's like finalized yet, but two of the other freshman girls that I'm on the team with, we're planning on finding a house that we'll move into. That's what most people on my team have done.
Yeah.
Um, Anybody, obviously, freshmen live on campus, but everybody else sort of lives off campus with other people on the team.
Yeah.
And that's also really convenient too. Again, like you said, living with your team, it's the people that you hang out with every day, but also just being on the same schedule as them. Do you know what I mean? Like we're all
Yeah.
getting up at 5:30 in the morning to go to training or whatever. Like we're just all on the same schedule, so it's just super convenient to
Yeah.
live with teammates. Yeah,
Yeah. And it's nice, like accountability as well, like I'm not a morning person, but my roommate, it was nice to be able to get up and go to those early morning lifts in off season and, having to get up knowing that my roommate's getting up and doing the same thing as
yeah,
well. So yeah, that's super nice. Yeah. How far are I'm sure you probably don't know where or what house you're going to be living in, but are they in the area around the school or like how far is it?
yeah. So we are looking at anywhere that's like within 15 minutes, within a 15-minute drive.
Yeah.
Just anything further away, just like starts to get a little bit inconvenient. And then obviously spending more money on gas and stuff. So um, we'll either live, so like our college is in Prescott, and then Prescott Valley is like another small area,
Right.
smallish area, I guess, nearby where there's also a lot of housing. So sort of we're looking anywhere between those two. And most of the options in both of those places are within 15 minutes of campus.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
So you don't have a car, do you? So if that's in
I don't
a
have a car yet. No,
oh, so you are planning on getting one?
that is, yeah, I'm going to be looking as well, obviously living off campus. Like commuting is a huge thing. So I'm looking at options for, yeah, being able to get a car for at least, even if it's just like getting one for the, 3 more years of college. So whether it's a lease or whatever.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, just something, because obviously living with my teammates, I would have the option for them to drive me, but also like our schedules will always be the same during the day, but there's no guarantee that like their classes aren't going to be done earlier than mine or whatever. So
That's
obviously living off campus, I will, yeah.
That's good. Yeah. I know when I lived off campus, I wasn't going to get a car, but I needed something, so I ended up getting an electric scooter. And this was
Yeah,
before everyone started, jumping in on the electric scooter days and yeah, that was one of the highlights of my last year was riding around
yeah,
campus on this electric scooter. It was quite
yeah,
fun. So, there's always that option if you need as well. And especially for me living in Florida, I know like there were so many people on skateboards,
yeah,
scooters, push bikes, electric bikes, like anything, that gets you mobile and gets you moving. So
yeah.
um, we only have a minute and a half left before we're cut off. Happens quite often than you think. Can I just ask one more thing? If you could give another fellow Aussie advice about going to the US, what would you tell them?
Um, I think my like biggest piece of advice would just be like if you're an athlete and you like being able to, do sport competitively, like and have it structured well through school, like just like try it out at least. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I have to be honest, I was pretty hesitant when I was coming over here. I really was second guessing myself and stuff, but like I'm just so glad that I did it. And the reason why I did it, even though I was unsure, was because I just knew that if I didn't, I would regret it.
Yeah,
But yeah, I would just say like you really never know. So if you think that it could be something that's good for you, like you just have to give it a shot. And worst case scenario, if it doesn't work out, you can just come home. So
yeah, exactly. That's really good advice. Take your chances, basically. So,
yeah,
all right, Mia, thank you so much for speaking with me today, and I'm sure I'll keep up to date with your whereabouts. So,
yeah.
thanks so much. All
Thank
right,
you.
bye.
Yeah.